everyone, so lovely to have you. Welcome back to my channel. It is Angela here. I have been working this whole weekend crafting and putting together some new projects that I'm happy to share with you. I was watching Carol from Oak House Journals yesterday for today, but on the weekend, and she has put together another challenge to do with tag swapping, which is very exciting. And she made me think, because I'm going to take part in the challenge. So I'm very excited to work on that. But while I was having a little think about it, I thought, oh, what am I going to pack it in? So it inspired me to go and do some homework and come up with this idea. It's not a new idea. It's an idea I saw on Pinterest, so it's nothing new, but I thought it would be a perfect sort of package to put my tag swap in for Carol's challenge. Now I'll put Carol's link in my description box below. Go and have a look at that challenge. It's very exciting, and I'm sure you guys might want to take part as well. Anyway, on to what I'm going to do today. I've put together this little card, really. It's a card. So it's nothing new, but I thought it could be perfect this time of year for gift cards. Or in my case, I'm going to put a tag in here. But you could put money. I know my children always like money for Christmas. And you don't want to just put money in a card. You want something a little bit more exciting. So I thought this is it. And also, you not only that, you could use this any time of year for any gifting opportunity, and it doesn't have to be any of those sorts of things. I mean, we all like paper crafts. You could fill this with those baubles or labels or tags or anything really, and you could slide it into a pocket in your journal as well. I mean, if you look at it, it's pretty thin, and of course it would go into a standard envelope, and you could post this off with very little cost indeed. All right, so let's have a look and see what this is about. Now, the very first thing, if you have a look at it here, it's got a little belly band. Let me give you some dimensions quickly of the finished product, and that might help you. Oops, wrong ruler. I'll be looking for the alternate in a minute. Right, so we'll do centimeters first. It's 10 centimeters across by 13.5 in length, and in inches that is 5.25 inches by 4 inches. So that's the size of it really. Now mine's got a little bubble there because I've got a snowflake in there, so it's a dimensional piece, so you don't need to do that. It's one of these, and that's why it's not quite lying flat. But of course you don't have to do that. Now what I've done here is I've used a belly band to keep it closed, but of course the one I'm going to show you, I will end up putting a ribbon on here as well. So you could tie a ribbon across here as well. So the kit I've used today is one I've used previously for my envelope wallet that I made. So it's from my Porch Prints, and it's called Shabby Pink Christmas, and I bought all the various elements for that, and they've got these beautiful labels. These are from there, and I'll show you the actual sheet for that as well because I have it. So here's an example of the labels from that beautiful Shabby Pink Christmas sheet. Gorgeous labels you could use for card making, journals and everything, and I thought that was quite handy. And then what else, the other thing I did was I printed this from the Shabby Pink Christmas pages, and I'll put the links in the description box below. This has got like an old gold snowflake on the one side, and on the other side I've just done an old gold sheet like that. So that's what I've done there, and then you'll see this comes from that kit. You'll see the various bits and pieces that we're going to use. In fact, I can show you here. This is one of the postcards, I think, from the kit, which I've just made a bit smaller. So I love that, and that's one of the pages as well. Lots of pinks, lots of gorgeous shades, and there's another one with the pinks and the creams, and it's more of a it's got a lot of typography on here, so I quite like that as well. Okay, so just put that all back there. I'll be looking at that for that in a minute. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to just have a little look inside here. So I'm going to just slide the belly band off, and then you've got your little card front like that. So it's got one of the labels and a card, the image I've cut in half. I have put it on a little bit of glitter as well, just to make it pop a bit. And then you're going to open it up like that, yeah. And you have got your, well, in this case I've just put in little tags because I'm trying to just emanate putting tags in for this little swap that as I said. All right, so you've got a decent size area in there, and this will lie pretty flat if you don't have these snowflake goodies in there, but as I say, it's ample space for you to put really anything in, and I thought a tag would be perfect in there. Okay, I have just dropped a little piece in the bottom there, but of course you can do that as well. So there we go. So that's what we're going to have a little look at today. I thought this is perfect for journals, Christmas cards, or just about anything that you plan to put in here. Really, you can, it's endless. And with the little belly band keeping it closed, how perfect is that? Okay, so let's get on to this. Let me just get the belly band back on. Okay, right, so I'm going to just put that aside over there, and then we're going to get to it. Now, the first thing that you want to use, as I said, is I adjusted mine to fit a A4 sheet. I have seen this on Pinterest, as I said to you, and it was using wider than an A4 sheet, and that wasn't going to work for me because I want to use printed paper. Now, so this will work for anybody really. Okay, so I've printed this beautiful snowflake print on the one side. You don't have to print on both sides. I have printed the old gold from that kit as well. And I know someone's going to ask me, so I'm going to tell you, I've printed on paper, but it's 160 GSM cardstock. All right, so I will put the American paper weights there as well. So just look up in the box above. Right, I'm going to take this piece of paper, and on the long side I'm going to measure 10 inches and cut it off. And I'll tell you right now what that is in centimeters. It's 25.5 centimeters. So I'm just cutting it to 10 inches or 25.5 centimeters in length. So we'll hang on to that. All right, now I'm not going to cut off anything the other side. This is an A4 sheet, so its standard width is, and I'll tell you now, 8¼ inches long, or 21 centimeters on the other side. So you're wanting 8¼ or 21 centimeters the other side. If you have the American letter size is wider, I think it's 8.5. All right, so I've trimmed that. That's what we're going to use. I'm going to grab my scoreboard. If you don't have a scoreboard, you can always use your paper trimmer and measure that as well. Sorry, this is really just in the way. Okay, so I've got my paper trimmer here, and what we're going to do is I'm going to use my bone folder, and on the longest side, what we want to do is we want to make a score line at 2 inches. 2 inches is, let me tell you exactly rather than guess, I think it's 5 centimeters. It's 5 centimeters. All right, so we are going to score at the 2 inch mark, and then again at the 3.5 inch mark, like that. Okay, and then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Just turn it around, and we're going to score at the 2 inch mark and the 3.5 inch mark, just like that. Right, now we're going to turn it to the shorter side, and we are going to score at 1.5 inches on the side. I will put all the centimeter marks up in the description box for you, so that you are able to see what that is in centimeters as well. All right, so I've turned this around and done exactly the same. All right, so just to recap, we've scored at the 2-inch mark, the 3.5, and again on that side 2-inch, 3.5. We've turned it to the shorter side, scored at 1.5 inches, turned that right round and done the same there. Okay, so that's all we're going to need that for. Right, so what we are going to do now is we are going to find the halfway mark of our piece of paper. So I just want to grab my pencil, and because this is 10 inches across like that, I'm going to just move this down so I can see clearly. Now precision is required, ladies. You've got 10 inches across there, and I need to find the halfway mark, which is 5, and I'm going to move this up a bit like that, and then I'm just going to make a little pencil mark halfway, and the same on the other side as well. Probably easier to do this, and then that. Okay, so pencil not required anymore. What we're going to do now is we are going to find the meeting point of this first score line, and we're going to use that middle mark there. So let me just lift it higher. We're going to draw a score line from there to the meeting mark of these two score lines there, and on both sides. So you've got like a V, and you're going to do the same on that side there. All right, so just follow along. I'm finding the meeting point there, and I want to run that across. I'm going to turn it like this. I'm finding the meeting mark there and there. It is really hard to see when the light is shining, so I'm going to just lift this and make a tiny dot, just so that it's not reflecting and I can't see what I'm doing. This is much easier in the natural light, but it's so dark here these days that you can rub that pencil mark out there now. Right, so we're back to the other side, and again I'm going to just make these little pencil marks so I can see what I'm doing rather than have a mess at the end. So obviously you don't need to do that if you can see in the light, but of course it does become awkward when you're filming. All right, so we're just giving a good score mark there, and you now have, if you have a look, hopefully you can see, you've got a mark there to there on both sides. All right, so now I'm going to just rub out those pencil marks like that. Right, so now what I want to do is I want to take my ruler, and I'm going to take my craft knife, and I'm going to I'm going to cut a line from cut these little 4 squares out over here on the corners, just like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that lined up carefully like that, and I'm going to run that down just to the score line, and then from here just to the score line. Now I just kept turning it, and eventually they all fall off. My chair is squeaking away here. Right, so I've got that there. Let's just line it up because the lines are throwing me off. Okay, hopefully that's on camera, and just want to move this over. As I said, precision is required, so I'm using everything at my disposal here at the moment. Right, again, down to the score line, down to the first score line, and now we've got one that we've lost, so we're going to turn it around, and like that. It'll be easier if you've not got a light shining directly over you, of course. So yeah, okay, just to the score line, and the corners will fall off, as you see, and this will be our last turn, and just there, and then on that line, and on that line too. Right, so straight down, straight down. Okay, so you will have had all of those fall off like that. Okay, looking good. So that's what you have now. You've got a shape that looks like this. Right, we've got a little bit more cutting to do, and what we're going to do is we're going to just match the ruler up to the cut line here, and you're going to match it to the cut line you made there. And what you're going to do now is you're just going to run your knife or pen or scissors or whatever down to the next score line and just make a little cut just like that. We're not going to cut that off, we're just doing it like that, and again on the other side as well. Right, match it to that line there, match it to where you cut there, and just draw your knife or your pair of scissors to the very next score line like that. All right, we finished cutting, more mostly. Right, so that's looking good. Now what we want to do is, I'm trying to just remember, I made a little trim these down a little bit. I want to go and cut these, probably easier with my knife again. I just want to ever so lightly, I'm just finding the score line, and I'm just taking a little sliver, sorry, it's not a snake, from the corner there. Why? Because I did notice that when I was doing this earlier, so I've got the score line, that little bits, this actually is better if you trim it at an angle. So I'm just taking a very little bit, find the score line, move that over like that, just take the edge off, otherwise it sort of gets in the way, and you'll see what I mean when you do this yourself. Right, so we do that there, and we just want to take a little piece off there, so we're angling it slightly. Okay, right, now what we want to do is we can leave that there, all of that there. What we want to do now is we want to start folding. So we want to fold along that score line and make sure that you meet it up so it's nice and straight with the score line running along there like that. And let's just make sure that that's nice and burnished, as we say, yeah, and do that for all 4 of these. All right, so we've done all of those. Right, now what I want to do is I want to fold this piece over and make sure that you match the score line to the score line there like that, right, and that these match on either side here. This one's a bit skew, so there we go. And then give that a good burnish as well, right? And then what I'm going to do is you'll see that we've got these score lines there and there. Now what you've got to do is you want to bend that back. Now don't bend it completely, just edge it forward. Make sure that they meet nicely in the middle before you flatten them completely flat. So what I mean by that is match the base there like that, and then just run your, oops, that one went a bit skew, there we go, just like that, and they're the same. All right, so we've got that sorted. Obviously, because these are angled and I trimmed off a bit, they're not going to match up because I have trimmed it. But just make sure that you've got that really nice and pointed at the top there, and that everything is matching up. All right, let's turn that around. We do that again. So we're going to fold this over. Make sure that we match with the score lines over there, like that. Run your bone folder over and then move that as it's meant to go. It'll just naturally go to where it's meant to go. Make sure you've got a lovely point. Let me show you what I mean, like a lovely good point there. And then those bits should match up nicely, like that. And then give those a nice burnish as well. Okay. Right, so you can open that up again like that now, and that one as well. Okay. Right, so now what we're going to do is lie them flat, turn this over again. Now I want to, you've got a score line running in the middle here, and I'm going to bring this point over. So I'm matching up the edges of this paper with the edge of that paper there on both sides best I can, and over here as well. Okay, and then again go like that. Then we're going to take this score line and move it backwards. Again, make sure that you can keep it as straight as possible, like that. There we go, and do the same here. Bend that first score line there. We're going to bend over and match it up with these over here, like that. And then we're going to fold along that score line back again like that. Okay, so we've got everything folded in place now. Right, so what we need to do now is grab your glue. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue. You can use double-sided tape. And what we're going to do now is we're going to lift this piece up. We're going to bend this that we've bent earlier in, and we're going to just stand it up on our table like that and get that nice and flush. It'll just fit snugly underneath this crease. All right, so that's what we're going to do. But before we do that, we need to put some glue on there. So let me move that up. We're going to put some glue on there like that. Go to the edges. All right, so lift this flap up a bit. Meet this up to this edge over here. All right. Hold it until this fold meets that fold, and then once you've got it in place, just fold the flap over like that. And there you can see why I trim it at an angle, because it sort of wants to get stuck into that crease there. Okay, and then just give it a nice little push them together. Right, I'm going to show you that again. So we're going to put some glue on the inside of this one, like that. I want it quite close to the edge. This is why I'm full of glue today. Right, so we're going to hold that piece up, and where that fold line meets this fold line, like that, when that happens, we're going to then just tuck that piece around like that. Okay, just give it a squeeze. You can see it's flush on the bottom there, but it's just slightly angled over there. All right, so we'll do that all the way around. So there we have our little box. I'm just going to give that a second, and it's looking pretty good there. right? So we'll put the glue to the side. What you're going to be able to do now is you're going to be able to push your fingers in like that, and then this should fall down nice and flat, and this should fall down nice and flat as well. All right, and then you can just give it a nice burnish like that, and the same on this side. Okay, there we go. Right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to just put a little base card in there. You don't have to do that, but I did cut one out. I think it's this piece here, and I'll tell you the measurements for this. I think it's just this measurement across is 3 inches, if I'm correct. Yeah, it's 3 inches. So I've made it 1/16 of an inch narrower. So if I tell you what that is in centimeters, it is, let's just say, it is 7.5 inches. It's across there. So you want to make it 7.2 centimeters, sorry, that way. Now this way, I think it was 5.2 inches, if I'm right. I was doing the other one, 5.3. So I cut it at 5.2 inches. So centimeters, it's 13.5, and I do it at 13.3. All right, but have a look and measure, because each one's slightly different for some reason. I don't know why, and I've made a few. All right, so I've got it at 7.5 and 13.21, this one. So it might be a bit small. If you're wanting to, you can always just give it a little bit of an distressing. You could decorate this if you want, leave a message in the bottom here if you wanted to. So you could cut out one of these little labels and stick it in the bottom that says Christmas greetings or Merry Christmas, or some message that you'd like to leave for the person. You could do that, and then this is just going to fit in the bottom there like that. All right, so I would probably glue that, so I'm going to do that quickly. Yeah, right, so we're just going to put some glue on here quickly so that it doesn't move around. Yeah, just like that. Okay, so let's just see. I'm going to put that there. And make sure that when you stick it down that you have got it where you want it, not like me messing about here, because that glue is not forgiving. Right, so there we go. We've got a little base card in there as well. And that looks lovely. Just breaks up all the gold and brings in a little bit of the pink. Okay, so I'm now going to get to going with the front. So let's do that quickly. Now, of course, and I'm not going to do this now, but I did go and distress all the edges, just the edges of the other one, and you can do that. I'm probably going to do that afterwards because I know it's quite boring. All right, so what you want to do now is you want to close that up, and I took my 2 mini little bull clips here, and I just held that down while I was working with the next phase. All right, so I'm going to just put that piece flat, that piece flat. You could also write a message to somebody on the back as well. That would work. So I'm going to just put that to the side for the minute. I'm going to work on this next section. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of card that I'm going to fit in over like that. All right, so if I tell you the size of that, you could make it any size, but this one is 8.5 centimeters or 3.25 inches by 4.5 inches or 11.5 centimeters. So that's what I've got there. And with this, it's a piece from, again, from the Shabby Pink Christmas from my Porch Prints, and I'm loving this kit as well. Gosh, there's so many lovely Christmas kits out there, and I've still got others that I want to use as well. Right, so this is going to fit perfectly in there, And what I've done is I've cut out a piece of this glitter, which I got from Abigail, I think. One of her packs that a parcel that I won from her, which was so funny because she won something from me, so that was like quite amazing. All right, so I'm going to just put this on. I think she got this from the Works in the UK, but you could get this off Amazon. It's a nice fine glitter, so it's quite smooth. And I'm going to just centralize this quickly, more or less. I'm just eyeballing it. Okay, the size of this is up to you, so I'm not going to worry with that, as long as you know what the overall outside one was. This again is one of the postcards from that kit, and I printed 6 to a page, if I'm honest, so I've got quite a few, and I'm going to just stick that down like that. Now you can stitch around it if you want, but I'm not doing that, and I'm going to put quite a fair amount of glue on this because I'm going to cut this all in half in a minute. So you want to make sure that you've got sufficient glue to keep this all down. All right. They don't take too long to make either, so you could make quite a few. And I know with my kids, as I said, teenagers, and all my son's not a teenager anymore, but he's in his early 20s. They're at that time where they want money, don't they? Because they've got their own plans to buy things. So this is just a nice way to write a lovely message, and they won't expect it all flat like that. So something a bit different, I think. Right, I'm going to put this somewhere. I'm not quite sure where, but we'll get to that after. Okay, now what we want to do is, this is how I did it. I lined it up here on my board. Because I've got these grids, I can see it's easy to work out the middle. So let's just move that out the way. Can you see that? I'll move it up a bit. So let's just get this on one of these grids, and it's either side there like that. And then using my dots in the middle, and I'm going to run my knife right through the middle. You can just draw a pencil line on the underside and use your scissors if you don't have a knife. And then I'm going to just cut this all right through the middle like that. All right, so that's how I did that. And then I did just didn't want the white showing through from that, so I did just put a little bit of distress ink down the middle. You could stitch around these if you wanted to, but I didn't. Right, okay, so we've got loads of rulers collecting here. Let's just get those out the way. Okay, so that's what we've got there, and this is where we're going to bring back this piece. And you do have that slight gap for some reason, but this is going to sort that out. So now we're going to put some glue on here and go right to the corners. Be thorough with that. I don't want it to ooze over. Oops, not on the nails. My hands are so full of glue and ink. It looks messy, but I have been crafting. Okay, right, so now we're going to grip this, and we're going to get it as just over the edge slightly, and I'm just guiding, pushing that over ever so much, just to ever so slightly over the central line point here, because as I said, it makes a sort of gap bigger than I planned to have. So that's fine, I've got that in place. Okay, I'm happy with that. And now we're going to do the same with the other side. Christmas card, one of your crafting friends, they could get a nice little surprise of something inside they weren't expecting at all. So who knows, I might do some of those. It all depends on time for me. It's always about time. My life is so busy. I'm sure yours all is too. Right, now we want to make sure we match this up. The easiest way for me to do that was with matching up the glitter bit. So I have got it in place, and just so I can get this nice and center, I'm going to just take off these little clips. I'm going to now able to really run my fingers over this as I want to. Okay, there we go, and that's perfectly matched. Okay, now we can easily see where we want to put our little Christmas label. So it's a case of, oh, and it is a bit too long, so I will have to chop it off a bit, and I didn't really want to do that, so too bad. We will have to. Okay, so this is how it's going to be. I'm going to, where do I want it? No, if I'm going to chop it off, it needs to be somewhere where it looks like it isn't an afterthought. Okay, so I've got it here, and that's where it's going to be. Got a little mark. Right, I can now cut that off. Right, and then I'm going to stick this bit on first. There we go, it's all sorted. Okay, so we've got our little card ready. It's looking really lovely. And now all I did was make a belly band. So this belly band is 2 centimeters wide, or 2 inches wide, or 5 centimeters, sorry. I like that, Christmas greetings. It's from this page again, from that same kit. And then I think as far as length is concerned, it'll be slightly different, but it'll, I suppose, no, not really. So we're looking at 9 3/4 inches, or just 24.5 centimeters. So that's that. And as I said, 5 centimeters or 2 inches wide. And then all I did with this was I just gave it a bit of a distress ink, as you do. You could stitch this if you wanted to, get fancy. It's up to you. All right, so what I've done here is it's just a case of wrapping this around your card. So we can move it down when we've done. Now what I did here was I did use some double-sided tape. So I'm just gauging it here. I'm going to put a piece just over here, and I'm going to use my knife just to take that off. So I'm going to do that like that, and then before I push that down, we want another piece just for the other side over here. Oh, it's pulling my my glue off my fingers, so that's good. Right, okay, so let's get it lined up. There's that side there. Hold that down, and then make sure that you do actually line up the paper on each side before you press it down. Okay, now it's not completely tight because obviously I want to put something inside there, and it's perfectly done because it still says Christmas greetings. Now you can move that as high or as low as you want. So there we go. And then the very last thing I did was I just cut out one of those labels. That's a little bunny. Oh, my cutting skills, I had to freehand this, so not the greatest. Yeah, and then give that a little bit of distressing. Just to, I like this, that in this case it gives it a bit of a border, doesn't it? All right, so there's a bunny, and we can stick that down somewhere, probably over the join if anything. And then what I did was I had a little bit of this soft tulle. Somebody gave this to me and I can't remember who it was now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put that underneath. It's a bit pink and sparkly, a little bit underneath like that. And I also had some cheesecloth, and I'm going to just pull a little bit off here just to give it a little bit of dimension. And I'm going to just arrange those two like that and use the 3-in-1. That looks terrible, so we'll just wipe that all off. Okay, so let's just grip these two. I'm going to put some of that down there. First I wanted this little tulle piece, and I'm going to try and ruffle it up a bit like that, and then I'm going to put some more and sort of get that sorted like that, and then I'm going to just put some on here. Alright, so there we go. And then I'm going to just stick it, get those corners in there, those corners in there, and I think that's how it should be. Okay, so there we go. I might need to just put a little bit more over there, and that was a bit too much, but there we go. Right, now just stick that down a bit. There we go. We'll wait for that to dry. Now once I've got my little tag inside, it's going to be perfect, and it won't be it's slightly bigger, because as I said, you want to slide it off, but you also want to make sure that you can fit something inside, so you don't want it too tight. Right, I've got a little snowflake that's stuck to my finger now, and I'm going to just put that on the outside just to give it a little bit more of a little finish. So I'm just going to put that on there, and we will just put that over there. All right, and there we have it. Simple as that. Okay, oh, I was saying to you, you can use ribbon. So this is some beautiful, look at my hands. This is some beautiful vintage velvet ribbon. And let's just see, instead of putting on a label, I would think that you could do something like this as well. So you don't have to put a label on. I mean, this would look lovely. It's just a case of me being able to tie this on camera, which is not good. I'm not good at this on camera. And I'm not great with bows on a good day. All right, so you could actually, if you were not posting this and you didn't need to worry about whether it was completely flat or not, you could actually leave a ribbon on here, and that would add to it and really make it look pretty. But that's up to you. You know, you don't have to. This is quite a bulky ribbon. I do have other ones, but this is just one that's lying here on my desk. So you could do that and try and tie a much nicer bow than what I've done. This is like quite not very dainty, is it? But never mind. There we have it. I'm not going to fuss around with it because I'll be here all day. And I'm sure you guys have had enough by now. All right, so we could have that, or of course we could leave it off. It's all up to you. So whatever you feel. Yeah. See, I'm still messing around with the bow. Okay, so there we have it, ladies. Go and give one of these a try. It's not difficult. As long as you're accurate with your measurements, you can't go wrong here. All right, so go and check out Carol's lovely tag swap challenge, and I hope to see you guys take part. She's going to draw and see who's going to be matched up with who. So that's exciting. And who knows? I could be getting one of your tags. You could be getting one of mine. Who knows? All right, so go and give this a go. This is going to be great for Christmas, the grandchildren, the family. If you're looking for vouchers, because we've all got to do online shopping for Christmas this year, this might be something you could send off to one of your friends and hide a little gift like a tag or something inside. Go and surprise somebody. All right, so thank you so much for watching and for taking part, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye-bye now.